Parsimonious. I've never seen that word
No.
before. That's rare. I've seen a lot of words.
How many?
Yeah, go on.
Approximately 2 billion.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a few words.
That's prox.
Yeah. Contrasting.
That's prox.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Edo Comic Cast for August.
Yes.
August.
Yeah.
I had to glance at the screen to
Yeah.
remember what
Yeah,
month
yeah.
it was.
We are 1 day away at time of recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at us being early.
Yes.
This means this will come out on like the 12th of September.
September, yeah.
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 Sounds about right.
Amazing. Yeah, we are here to record another comic cast. I'm going to say it's like the 20th. That might be accurate. That might be inaccurate. But you'll have to find out yourself.
That's the thing about facts. There's the two states they could be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct or not.
That's true. But yeah, we're here to talk about She-Hulk because in a mere 18 days from time of recording,
Yes.
we're getting a little TV show on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Called She-Hulk. Believe it or
Shulky.
not.
What?
I know, it's wild.
Shulky the show.
Shulky the show.
Shulk.
It looks wonderful. There's been a couple of trailers at this point. Potentially could be the best TV show we've seen
I
yet
think it might be.
from Marvel Studios.
I really hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Had teasers of a few characters, which we won't talk about immediately, but we probably
will mention one of them.
Talk about it soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of had a quick look through some She-Hulk comics we could do. There's a few big runs. There's her original run back in like the 1980s.
Yep.
And then there's been a few since the 2000s. We chose to do the 2014 run, which is written by, I remembered his surname was Soul, but I had to check his first name because every time I read his name, I thought of the Skyrim composer, who's a total asshole.
Oh, no.
Right. An ass soul?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah?
He did
Nice.
it. He went there. He went there.
This guy's Charles Soule. The asshole Skyrim composer is Jeremy Soule.
This is Star Wars Boy, right?
This is Star Wars Boy. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we chose to do his comic because it's a good little She-Hulk being a lawyer kind of vibe, which I think is a lot of what we're going to get in the show.
Yeah.
2014 just seems to be the year for really good comics for everything that's coming out this year,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was all their reboots.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely the pool that Marvel are digging into for all the shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe just briefly before we jump into a few comic curiosities, what are you guys' experiences with She-Hulk before this?
Virtually nothing, personally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done Dan Slott's second run. I think I've read almost all of that so
That's
far.
like early 2000s?
Yeah, it's 2002 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've read a lot of her first run. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
80s
cool.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think I've just seen her come up in big events.
Yeah.
That's basically all I've ever
I'm
really seen her
the
in.
same as you. Just read her in big events. And then, I've been collecting the latest run, the 2022 run.
Yeah.
That has all the wonderful covers done by Jen Bartel.
Yes.
Which is the only reason I've actually been collecting them. I haven't read them yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Apparently they're pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was genuinely the first She-Hulk comic I've read, which is rare for me with these
To have
comic
not read
casts.
a comic of a certain character.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think we're all relatively unfamiliar with her. So we're going to do a little bit of a bio, a little bit of a background of the character, provided to us by Jshie, who has done a wonderful context corner for this this podcast. I will say,
Context room.
Just so
All four of them.
there's a good little thread in the Discord. Jshie puts these all in threads in the Discord. You can go check them out for the full amount. There's so much if you're curious about to find more facts and stuff. Or more details.
Patreon.com/each to their own.
Yeah.
You can jump in that Discord through there.
Yes.
But there was a little conversation. Dion popped in there at the end of the thread and said, I think you might have outgrown the corner and it should be called Joshie's Context Cabin.
Good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good one.
And then the reason he was in there was he said, I only peeked to see if there was any context for the penis plane in issue 3. So there's your little preview of what's to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, She-Hulk, a little bit of a bio on her. First appearance, The Savage She-Hulk, #1, February 1980. So she is one of Stan Lee's last created characters when he was like really writing for Marvel.
Cool.
I think he came back and wrote for them a bit later, but wasn't really creating new stuff,
Yep.
so to speak. So she's one of the more recent Marvel characters. I say recent, still 42 years.
42 years.
But yeah, later than most of the core Marvel heroes.
For sure.
she's kind of become a bit of a core hero. I think she's
Yeah,
in the
totally.
Avengers team at the
Fantastic
moment.
Four, heaps.
So Stan Lee wrote only the first issue of those. And as I said, she was the last character he created for Marvel Comics. The reason behind the character's creation had to do with the success of the Incredible Hulk TV show and the Bionic Woman television series.
All right.
Yeah, right.
So the Incredible Hulk TV show was that one with Lou Ferrigno,
yeah.
that nearly spun off into like a million other TV shows. And apparently CBS wanted a female spin-off of the Incredible Hulk show, and Marvel wouldn't earn the royalties if that had been the case.
Yeah,
if it was an original character created by it. So they're like, we need to get on this
make
before.
a new character.
Yeah,
Nice.
before it happens. She-Hulk, also known as Jennifer Walters, that's her normal human name. A meek, unassuming young lawyer who had a famous relative, her cousin, Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Who would have thought? Bruce was visiting when a vengeful mob boss tried to kill her in a hail of bullets. Being the only source available, Banner gave her some of his blood in an emergency transfusion. It saved her life, but at the cost of giving her Hulk-like characteristics. Important, Hulk-like. Because from then on, she would frequently be transformed into a super strong, green-skinned giant replete with primal emotions. However, in her case, the primal emotion wasn't rage, which it was for Hulk. Had more to do with the negation of her prim and proper personality. Large, loud, and lusty, she came to revel in her She-Hulk persona, greatly preferring it to the drab persona she was in everyday life. Later, when she suffered another of those fantastic mishaps that occur so often in comic books and became unable to change back, she didn't even mind. Unlike Bruce Banner, who is constantly just like, I don't want to be here. She eventually gave up lawyering and became a full-time superhero. In 1984, under John Byrne's writing, The Thing had an extended adventure in a faraway galaxy, and she took his place in the Fantastic Four. He came back a year later, but she remained loosely associated with that group for several years after. She, like so many Marvel characters, was a member of the Avengers, is right now, specifically the East Coast Avengers.
Don't like how she looks now, though.
No?
Not in the Avengers comics. It's like, scary lady.
Yeah, so they've turned her more into like the buff Hulk.
Sure.
Like she's hulkish.
Yeah.
She's not she-hulkish.
Which is interesting because as we're reading now and talking about now, a lot of her basis around her characters, she's not like her transformations aren't
It's not
similar
that's
to
not
the
the
Hulk.
point. Yeah.
I think there was mid 2010s, there was a Savage She-Hulk, I think was the one that did it, where she kind of like turned into this more hulking figure.
Yeah. Even I think vocally was like dumbed down in the sense of the way the Hulk talks as well.
I haven't read too much about that, so I don't know the background behind it. But I agree. I like this style of the character a lot more.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. In 1989, she got her own series again, only this time it was more appropriately titled The Sensational She-Hulk. Cartoonist John Byrne, creator of Alpha Flight, Canada's super team, and The Next Men, approached this one from an unusual angle. Man, I love Marvel. Breaking down the fourth wall and establishing the iconic version of the character as we know them to this day. We do get some fourth wall breaks at the start of these comics. Yeah.
Very subtle in these ones.
Yeah, totally. I was thinking the previously ons.
Oh, yeah.
They're not so subtle.
Yeah.
Which ones were you thinking of? Did I miss them?
No, that's what I mean. They're so subtle.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there apart from those.
Yeah, totally. Apparently, you read part 2 of this 1989 run on your charity stream as one of the rewards.
Probably.
One of the ones that Josh paid
It was a long stream.
Yeah.
Long stream.
On the 29th of May, 2022.
Thank you, Jshie.
In 1989, the 1989 sensational She-Hulk run inspired all of the most notable solo runs done since. Dan Slott's one in 2004 and 2005.
That's the ones.
This series, which was in 2014 by Charles Soule, and the 2022 run by Rainbow Rowell.
What a name.
Rainbow Rowell.
Yeah, she's done a big run on Runaways, which I want to read because apparently
Rainbow Rowell wrote Runaways?
Yes.
Amazing.
Say that 3 times fast.
No. Pay me on a charity stream and I might.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so that's kind of the background of She-Hulk. She's not been around as long as some of these other characters.
Yeah.
But I guess the main distinctions from Hulk, she's a lawyer.
Yep.
She spends a lot of time in her She-Hulk form and wants to.
Yeah.
And
speaks
normal language.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The writer of this is Charles Soule, as we've discussed. He originally got a Bachelor of Arts majoring in Chinese. But he also started his working career as a lawyer before commencing comic writing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So apparently he started his own practice in 2004. Practiced
Sounds familiar.
immigration law, transactional law, and corporate law. And then he wrote comics as a second gig for a number of years. And in the last decade, just went full on comics.
Wild.
Imagine being a lawyer and then having time to just write comics on the side.
Yeah,
Jeez.
totally.
How do you have the mental capacity to split
Yeah.
and do the other thing?
It's nuts.
Yep. So he's most well known for writing the She-Hulk run, and then also Daredevil in 2015 through to 2018. So there was a run of like 30 issues early on there, and then he came back for, it says here, issues 595, 612, because I don't know what happens with their numbering.
Numbering's wild.
Yeah. But he's done a bunch of other stuff in Marvel. He's done Death of Wolverine, the Inhumans series when Marvel was really trying to push that. Astonishing X-Men, Thunderbolts, Second Civil War.
Everyone loved that one.
Yeah. And then for DC, has done some Swamp Thing, some Red Lanterns, and some Superman. And has had some creator-owned comics, including original series Letter 44, Curse Words, and Undiscovered Country, in addition to publishing 2 original idea novels, as well as a third novel, which was a Star Wars novel, Star Wars Light of the Jedi, which came years after working on Star Wars comics, which we'll get into right now. He's worked on a lot of them. Poe Dameron, issues 1 to 31.
Nice.
Star Wars Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, number 1 to 25. Star Wars Lando, 2015. Have you read that one? I feel like I've seen that one on Marvel Unlimited.
I think I did. I read the first couple of issues, Lando.
Star Wars Obi-Wan and Anakin, 5-issue limited series, and Star Wars The Rise of Kylo Ren, 4-issue limited series. Then he next leveled, taking on the Star Wars flagship comic series, the one going on at the moment, from January 2020, which he still works on. And he recently wrote War of the Bounty Hunters, which is a 6-issue limited series, and Star Wars Crimson Reign, which I believe is still ongoing, or at least has just wrapped up.
Yeah.
And in April of this year was appointed an official creative consultant for Lucasfilm.
Wow.
Likely to contribute to non-comic Lucasfilm properties. So
he's part of the story group.
He's in the pie with Filoni and Favreau and all those gangs.
Good on him.
So what a career for this man.
Yeah, lawyer to that. Lawyer to Lucasfilm.
Not only that, started Bachelor of Arts majoring in Chinese.
He just couldn't decide.
Yeah. That's cool though.
That's crazy.
That's sick.
What
What a
a
career.
Yeah,
what
he's
a
worked
story.
on huge titles too, like from Marvel to DC.
Yeah.
Like some of the biggest DC stories as well.
Absolutely.
Characters.
But yeah, it's cool that he's kind of clearly at the fore of the Star Wars comics now, and be interesting to see if he starts popping up in any of the other content around.
Well,
the place.
I think he's a main player in a lot of the High Republic stuff. Like the Light of the Jedi thing was
that a High Republic thing?
And so I think he's written a couple of the other books as well.
Very good,
Nice.
very good. I've read a bit of those comics. They're good fun. I'm interested to see them dabble in that a little bit more.
Acolyte's coming.
Oh yeah. So is Andor like
don't know
2
what's
days
going
after
on.
the show?
I don't know what's going on.
That's
That's
okay.
all right,
That's
Josh.
okay.
You don't
Josh, we're
need-
getting
you
back to
just-
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Good, cool,
She
cool.
knows
Please.
so much about.
Yeah, please. Familiar ground.
Yeah.
Got a couple fun facts about
Charlie?
Charles Soule. Apparently, so in this comic, She-Hulk, not very romantically entangled, which we've discussed. Normally, that's her thing.
Lots of banging.
Lots of banging. But apparently, Soule didn't really want to address that specifically in this one. She talks about having dated folks and all that jazz.
Yep.
But she didn't have an ongoing romantic interest through the first 12 issues.
Yeah, wow.
He said he likes romance and he had a blast with the Superman Wonder Woman series that he did for DC. However, he thought it was important to get away from that and focus more on Jen's professional life as she worked to define herself in that way.
Yes.
Jen is not who she's dating. Really, no one is. That's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's definitely nice because, it's a very core part of the character to see her run, at least go away from it to start off with and establish.
Especially because this one is her own law firm, which is not
Totally.
something that she generally does. She's generally working for someone else. So it's like, this is a lot more weight. So it's like she doesn't have time.
Yeah. It's so based around her professional life.
Yeah.
So definitely. Fun fact number 2 on Charles Soule, Fantastic Four 2024? 224. Man, that would be a lot of issues.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Was the first comic that Charles Soule ever read, purchased by his dad at a drugstore, right as the family was about to embark on a long drive. For those of you playing the Edo Comic Cast continuity game from home, this Fantastic Four issue was written by David Munch and penciled by Bill Sienkiewicz, the same creative team that worked on the Moon Knight comic we did.
Nice.
Sienkiewicz. It's spelled Sienkiewicz. So I did the opposite there. I pronounced it how I was supposed to be and then went back.
Made it worse.
Young Charles' next foray into comic reading was 1985 Secret Wars 2.
This dude needs to pick a run
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
read comics.
Apparently he attempted to collect every issue of it, which I'm
okay.
sorry, Charles. That would have
Dang.
Been a bit.
A unique item in Charles's wallet is a subway ticket from Sydney from the year 2000.
All right.
Why do we know this?
Yeah. This is fucking Austin on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
It's like, how'd you get this deep?
He knows too much.
Again, if you want the sources for these, Jshie has provided them in the Discord. So you can head over there and find out how he does know these. But Sol was there spectating the Olympics. I was one
cool.
at that point in time. So I went to the Olympics, but I don't remember them.
Oh, wow.
But apparently he took that trip right after completing the bar exam. The trip was when Sol decided that he wanted to be a novelist, and the subway ticket reminds him of the journey that began that day.
Wow.
Cute.
He bought a notebook and started writing his first novel longhand on the metro, apparently.
Jeez.
Novel never got published, but did reinforce with Sol that they wanted a career built from creativity. And writing seemed like something they could pursue while paying the bills as an attorney. That's
wild.
Cool.
again insane that the fact he was like, I can do this while being an attorney.
Yeah.
Being
Famously,
a freaking attorney.
very busy people.
Nuts.
In addition to the lawyering and the comic writing, which he is famous for, well, at least the comic writing, he's also a guitarist and a singer
Hey.
that plays violins and dabbles in keyboard.
A guitarist and a singer that plays violins. What a weird.
So what's he do?
Yeah. So three things.
Yeah.
So good.
In the early 2010s, he had two groups, both called the Charles Soul Band.
Awesome.
They did jazz trio gigs at clubs and events, and that include covers of scores from the likes of Terminator, Magnificent Seven, E.T., and Doctor Who.
What?
What a weird thing.
He does jazz covers
Sick.
of scores. That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
What a cool man.
Yeah.
Nice.
shit.
And then he also did a tie-in song covers challenge for his Image Comics Shadowline series 27, second set, a comic which explored the story of a fictional musician cursed to join the 27 Club, trying to live to age 28.
That's cool. What a cool
Yeah.
concept.
Do you want to explain what the 27 Club is?
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of very, very famous musicians, artists that all seem to die at the age of 27. You have a list here, so I'm going to read them from here. Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Robert Johnson, Janis Joplin, Richie James Edwards, I don't know that guy, Brian Jones, and Jim Morrison. And I think also, who's the girl that went to rehab?
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. I'm pretty sure she was 27 as well.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so they all died at the age of 27. So
crazy.
it's sort of a conspiracy about the 27 Club.
Yeah,
Where,
So yeah, that's Charles Soule. He's
He's a pretty busy dude.
Busy dude.
Yeah.
Wild kind of history going on there.
So cool.
Thanks for all those facts and details, Jshie. Moving on to the artist for this run, Javier Pulido. Now, we have seen him on the Comic Cast before, but not as prominently as other people. What do you think he did?
Killed a man.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I don't know. He might have missed Marvel.
Nope. He did 2 issues of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye.
That makes sense.
He did the
Yeah,
Kate
okay.
Bishop, the Kate Bishop and the guy.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
The swordsman.
No, the other guy. Swordsman was in TV show.
He was.
This is the guy with the eye.
Bullseye.
The eye.
The guy. No, the other guy.
You keep saying people.
The guy.
I know,
got the white
yeah.
face paint,
Yeah.
kind of like a clown.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did those 2 issues.
Yeah.
The guy,
famous-
Jon Snow looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Famously, Joshie's favorite issues of those comics and our least favorite.
That explains why She-Hulk's face looks terrible
yeah.
in this entire run
Yeah,
of comics.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's kind of fun, but so weird to
Yeah.
look at
We've got
every time.
plenty
comic.
of comments to come on the
Yeah, good.
on the eyes, especially from some of
Yeah.
our other viewers. Not
Yeah.
a fan.
the eyes were so good. It's
Literally, there's a bit that
Other
says, look
direction.
into my eyes.
Yeah,
and
and
it's
it's
like, no, please, no.
I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want
They're
to.
in other directions.
You're
They're on other
haunting.
sides of your face.
Yeah, it
You're
is
haunting.
definitely a
It's
unique
great.
art style Javier has.
So fun.
He became interested in comics when he was very young, apparently about 6 years old, studied
That
fine
is-
arts at the University of Barcelona. In the
At
period,
6 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
While
young.
he was at the university, he got his first professional commission doing illustrations and some covers for Spanish editions of Marvel Comics.
Ah, cool. That's
Yep.
awesome.
In 1996, his first major job, Mentat, was released. It was the last comic made directly for the Spanish market by Marvel, I assume.
Wow.
In less than a year's time after that, Marvel contacted him to do work in the United States. He did a bit of work on Star Trek Early Voyages in the late 90s. And in addition to the 2 issues of Fraction's Hawkeye that we covered, he also was credited on the annual of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye.
Yeah,
so he
right.
probably did a little bit in
cool.
there.
Yep.
Other Marvel work he's done included one issue of that Scarlet Witch run that has all those different
That's a good
artists.
one.
So we've had a couple. We've had a couple of artists pop into those from the last few comic casts.
Yep.
Also done a little bit of DC. Done some Hellblazer, Batman Chronicles, Flinch, Catwoman, and the miniseries Robin Year One. He also in 2002 produced the graphic novel Human Target Final Cut, and became the artist of the Human Target monthly series that came after. Interestingly, we in our last comic cast we had a little bit of a discussion about colorism.
Had a lot of discussion in that.
Yeah, you probably don't remember it because I had to edit it back. So we had a bit of a discussion about coloring and what went into that.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think
That's right. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, because that was like super deep discussions within that.
Yeah. So this isn't as deep,
cool.
but we
Cool
got
fun.
a little detail from Polito about how he does his line work and stuff. So apparently someone in an interview in 2009 asked him, how do you draw? And he says, I use how do you draw?
With an implement.
Yeah. They also asked, where did you evolve? Which I assume is a bit of a janky translation.
Where did you evolve? Charizard, motherfucker.
He says, I use blue pencil and normal pencil, and I think light markings, which is a method that I discovered a while ago, and it works well for me so that the pencil can be seen well and details are not lost. In the exhibition above, I don't know where that is, you can see what the pages are like and the use of the blue pencil. Okay. So he used blue pencil. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's strange. Cool.
Okay.
And then Jshie did some extra homework on top of all the stuff he's given us, which was quite interesting to see.
We didn't give him homework.
No,
in the first
to be
place.
clear, we didn't ask.
This is all homework.
He's very generous and gives this all to us. No, this was cool. So he followed up with someone who worked on this comic, I think, about potentially the editor or something, because in the complete collection of these comics, Polito is only referred to as a storyteller. He's normally referred to as an artist in the trades and the single issues, but he's a storyteller in the complete collection. And so Jshie was just curious and tweeted out to someone, was like, what's going on here? Yeah. And they said, I don't remember pushing for this. This was probably Charles Soule being a stand-up guy.
Yeah, right.
So that's cool.
Wanted to make him more than, the guy that draws.
Yeah, totally.
So that was a tweet back to Jshie.
Yeah, Jshie.
From a guy that was probably part of this.
Yeah. That's Jshie was just curious what
pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
Nice.
So yeah, that's a cool little extra detail. Good job with your extra homework that we didn't give.
Yes.
And finally, the colorist, Muntza Vicente. I apologize if I mispronounced
That was pretty good.
I love people's names.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of the names that come up on this are
definitely
so
never
good.
seen Muntza before.
Yeah. Our three fucking names are the most boring. Will, Ben, and Josh.
You had Sam on top of that.
Sam.
And then another Josh.
And another Josh.
Yeah, Vaughn is the most interesting one.
Yeah. And he doesn't even like bringing that up when you order a pizza. It's like, a name? Josh. It's like, I'm not going to say Vaughn.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anyway.
No Munzas around here.
Muntza Vicente, also born in Barcelona. Yeah. Also born in Spain. I'm not sure. I can't remember if Javier was born in Barcelona. Anyway, they're both in Spain.
Well, other people have been born, they've been born there. So it's like.
Yeah. It's also,
as well as other people. So
many people.
Right.
Yeah.
He mostly worked in fashion and beauty magazines and in advertising. She. When it comes to comics, she is frequently doing the coloring for fellow Spanish artists such as Marcos Martin and Javier Polito. In addition to 10 of the issues in the 12-issue She-Hulk run, she's a colorist on some iconic Amazing Spider-Man issues. 801, which was Dan Slott's final issue as the regular writer. One of the few colorists on the anniversary issue 800, which was a chunky boy. And was the primary colorist on issues 638, 639, and 641 from the infamous One Moment in Time arc. This means nothing to me. This is like when we were talking about Star Wars earlier.
Yeah, Josh is the one.
And 655 to 658 covering the Marla Jameson's funeral. They've also been a colorist for Marvel on a handful of issues across Exiles, early issue of Mark Waid's Daredevil run, which we've done. I like that we've done enough of these that we're getting a lot of cross.
It's cool.
Scarlet Witch 2016, which is again that collection.
Yep.
And Spider-Woman 2014.
Cool.
Anyway.
It makes sense that they're Spanish because there's a lot of we know when you go to like a Mexican restaurant and stuff, and there's that picture of a woman and she looks dead down. It's like dead down the thing, and she's got the neckerchief thing on her head. It's those eyes. It's the same eyes.
It's true.
Like it's a very intense visualization of a human.
Yeah,
And I think that may be something that's ingrained in
a
their
cultural-
culture.
Yeah.
So maybe that's come across.
There you go. Oh, I don't know. We'll get into the eyes later. There's some big pictures
We'll get
of
into
the
those eyes.
We're going to talk about the 4 issues now. Josh is going to do a rundown of the 4 issues as a whole, and then we're going to just chat about it. If we touch on some of the cool stuff that Josh has given us facts for, I'll bring them up. But otherwise, we're going to just have a bit of a chat about the comics and then jump into your comments. That's it. 'Cause this is a pretty short story, so we're just going to talk about it all one together.
Feel free to jump in and interrupt if you need to, or if you have something to add. So She-Hulk.
2 plus
All right.
2 equals
9.
Jennifer Walters is fired from her job.
4.
Nice. She's asked by a woman at a bar to help her obtain compensation from Stark Industries for stealing her husband's inventions. After some discussions and hearings with Stark's human but pretty robotic in personality legal team, she goes straight to Stark, where she gets the woman compensation. And the lady pays Jennifer enough to be able to start her own law firm. Even though Jennifer tries to decline, the woman's like, no, just take this. So she starts her own firm, hires out an office space in Manhattan, I think, and then hires a lady called Angie, an overqualified personal assistant with a mysterious pet monkey. I need to know more about that monkey, but we don't get it now in any of these. There's a weird little one frame at one point in one of the court cases, and it's
got a little
very interesting.
Detail on that,
it's kind of cool. Jennifer goes out for drinks with Patsy Walker, otherwise known as Hellcat. Patsy then gets the drunken urge to take down an AIM facility she heard rumors of from a date that she went on previously. Things go south, and Patsy almost gets killed by a giant, an AIM guy in a robot, in like a mech thing. But Jennifer saves Patsy and then hires her for the firm as a investigator, because I think she's a reporter. Investigative reporter. Upon returning to the office the following day, Dr. Doom's overly entitled son, Christophe Venard, is waiting for her, seeking asylum in America from his father's country, Latveria, as he does not want to rule like his father. He just wants to be his own person. Upon discovering that today, the day that he turned up, is the absolute last day that Christoph is eligible to apply for asylum.
Fucking rich people.
Jennifer whisks him away and takes him to the courthouse. We'll also say that he states at one point that she is the 15th law firm lawyer that he's gone to. And she doesn't feel too great about that. But, it is what it is.
She's struggling for work at this point.
She is, This is pretty much her one and only thing that she
and a blue folder.
And a blue folder.
Mysterious blue folder. That's it. Along the way to the courthouse, there's a few run-ins with some Doombots trying to get Dr. Doom's son back, Christoph. But they eventually make it to the courthouse. And the judge grants Christoph asylum after some fun little back and forth and discussion. Almost immediately, Dr. Doom crashes through the courthouse roof and steals Christoph away, taking him back to Latveria. It's the end of issue 3. After seeking legal and superhero advice from Matt Murdock, Daredevil, Jennifer sneaks into Latveria, breaking into the castle and destroys a bunch of Doombots. After that, a giant Doombot hand just crashes through the wall, controlled by Dr. Doom, grabbing Jennifer. Jennifer manages to have a civil conversation with this gigantic Dr. Doombot, explaining that she believes her son didn't really want to defect from Latveria, but just wanted a chance to be his own person and kind of did it to get his dad's attention so that maybe he's able to have that discussion. Doom almost seems saddened by this, and realizes that he actually needs to talk to his son properly about it to understand his son's wishes. It's kind of a very sweet thing. And then he's like, take her home and we'll have a talk when you get back. Jennifer returns to America and begins on the next mysterious blue file case. Where her and a bunch of supers, both good and bad, are being sued for something, but none of them seem to remember any of the case details that have occurred, despite them requiring lawyers to have contacted them about various details and stuff, but they don't recall any of it. She just has this file with her name and a bunch of other people in there. That's it. Yeah. That's basically where it ends. That's the whole.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
Comic cast over.
Yeah.
Done. Avenger.
Should we let's have a general chat and then I'll talk about some cool little facts and details. What did we think? You just did the rundown, so Will, I'm going to go to you first.
I thought it was good. I think it's the best kind of start, because all the other runs I've read are very much she's already doing things. This is one of the very few ones where it is the beginning of a narrative for She-Hulk. So it's good in that respect, but it's definitely the least things happening in a comic that I've ever experienced.
That we've ever done in one of these.
It's wild how very little actually happens across them all.
The fact that I was able to write that on the toilet just before we did this.
Yeah,
it's pretty quick.
It's pretty bare bones. I think that it's an interesting, having read other She-Hulk comics as well, it's an interesting departure of like leaving the fourth wall breaking behind is a bit sad. It's a lot of fun in the other runs.
Totally.
And I'm sure it comes in once she kind of finds her feet. But yeah, it was fine. I think knowing that the series is only 12 issues as well, it'd be interesting to know what the climax of it all is.
So I didn't actually manage to copy it into the document, but apparently it did get cut early as well. They weren't expecting it to, they were hoping for it to go a bit longer. So it is, I'm curious to see
if they wrap anything up or
how it wraps up well. I think Jshie mentions in his comments later that they do. So that's good.
Yeah, cool.
But it's one of those things weird, like when we did Magnificent Miss Marvel a couple months ago, that was one of those ones that kind of got wrapped up quick and you could see it when you read the comic. So it's good to hear that hopefully that worked out well. I agree. Very bare bones. But I feel like in a nice light way. Like it didn't feel, I basically just read through them quickly in bed this morning. It didn't feel like a struggle or anything that sometimes it does for these comic casts when I'm trying to get through them. But like, no, this was nice. Every issue felt like it stood on its own well, but also had a good connection to the rest of the story.
The rest of the Marvel universe as well.
Like, there's a lot of little connections, which I'll jump into. I really liked that. I liked the introductory pages, the previously ons, which is just...
It's the one bit of fourth wall you get.
That's just Jennifer talking to us as the viewers. And my favorite is, I think we talked about it earlier today, but in issue 3, which is only 15 pages, very short. She's like, Marvel bought too many ads this week, so we don't have space for letters or much of a comic.
It's tiny.
I will say it's funny that it's issue 3 and 4 that have her doing that breakdown, but issue 2 is literal frames from comic 1 that they just place. I kind of like that as a because usually they're like previously on as just a wall of text, but I kind of like that they've just ripped out entire frames.
It's like a unique little way to do it. I like it because when I read that, I was like, it feels like I'm watching a previously on. We've all been watching the X-Men animated series. It felt like one of these.
That show is wild when it does a briefly, because you're like, okay, this is like 8 episodes worth. This wasn't last week's episode.
It gives you every possible bit of context for the episode.
And the beauty of that show is some pieces of context are a single line. So it's a minute of just people saying things. It's like, okay, cool.
And then an additional 19 minutes of people just saying things. My goodness, there's so much dialogue. At least in the first season and a bit.
This is not the last we will talk of this show.
It'll be back.
But yeah, Josh, brief thoughts before I run through some cool little facts.
No, I totally agree, but it's I found it just a very like fun kind of playful set of comics. Like the dialogue and the interactions between characters and stuff are done in a very fun way. I particularly enjoyed like in issue 1 her discussions with Stark's legal, the dude that is just like, I am legal.
I am the legal.
They're like, what, you're the legal team? It's like, no, I am legal. And then that whole page, like the major page of her first meeting him, such a cool design. I actually have that down, so I'll show that and discuss that later. But just the way that there's nothing and then suddenly just walls of text sort of explaining how, showing, you can just see, like, without even reading it, that something quite complex is, like, legally complex is happening there. and there's a discussion where the text goes from like normal size and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as he's saying more and more about it, and it's like she's zoning out of that and stuff. Like those little interactions are very, very fun.
Yep.
Totally.
And there's a few little things where they play a lot with I guess the page layout designs. There's so many double page spreads in this where they do fairly creative layouts and designs. So I really enjoyed that. I felt like it was, despite being fairly bare bones and fairly minimal story wise, I found it just very playful in general. It was cool.
Nice. Feels like a good one that I'll go back to and.
I definitely want to finish reading.
Yeah, I can do it tonight, basically.
Yeah, totally.
It feels like one if someone was like, "Oh, where would I start for She-Hulk?" It's like this.
Yeah,
if someone doesn't read many comics, it's like
it's great for you and me because it's literally it is that for us.
Yeah,
so
it's quick, it's simple, like it's just,
and it gives you all the context you need for the character. She looks like a Hulk, is a lawyer, and has a bit of a personality.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the other ones, like the other runs are generally, she works for this thing that is a celestial being that is on the planet to search for certain things. There's also level 6 is a comic book shop. And that's the history of everything. So whenever they need to go like, has someone done something bad? They literally get issue 60 of She-Hulk and go, oh yeah, this is when he did that bad thing. So that's a lot to take in.
It is,
comparatively to this.
Sounds cool though.
It sounds fun, but
I think it's going to be in the show.
Really?
There's a wall of comic books in like one shot. Sick. Cool.
That's sick.
Yeah, all right. Let's jump into some little details about stuff.
We'll just say it'd be fun if it was a wall of DVDs.
Like
just the MCU DVDs.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
that'd be so good.
Movies.
They have to log into Netflix.
Netflix. Disney log into Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
As a good twist.
Yeah, totally. So in issue 1, we have she goes to Stark Tower and is uncovering this case about the Holly Harrow's deceased husband. He's actually a character in Marvel, which is cool. This is one of these comics that has a lot of references to stuff that I would just seemingly be a throwaway, but actually specific things within Marvel. So he's mainly a villain in Spider-Man titles and New Avengers. Apparently visually resembles a bit of a Hugo Strange.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Makes sense, science boy.
But one of his only appearances not connected to Spider-Man or the New Avengers was in a one-shot, The Thing and She-Hulk. The Long Night. I actually had more of a name that I missed. But there's a few more details about this. Jshie has written about this issue that you can go to the Discord and find. But the end of it is basically he works for Roxxon. And the end of the story is that there's explosions that disrupt the Roxxon building, and Dragon Man breaks free and runs frenzied around New York.
Of course.
So that gives you the kind of context you need for what that comic is going to be.
Good.
But yeah, so he has one appearance with She-Hulk, and then is mostly a villain in other stuff. Yeah, wow. Charles Soule, across all these, has like a favorite panel and a favorite character. The favorite character in this was Legal.
Good.
Okay. Cool.
Which he was like, I really want to go back to that. He's got like a lot of possibilities that you could go into with him. He says, if I write more She-Hulk in the future, though, Legal will definitely return. Lore can be a very surreal field at times, and Javier Pulido did an excellent job capturing that. Apparently, his first design they had for Legal was a much more like impish little pixie character. But apparently it didn't quite work. So his dour nature was kind of supposed to be a counterpoint to Jen's like upbeat energy.
It's a weird idea that they drew something and it didn't go in. Another deep art discussion. It almost feels like when a comic is written, it's like done, leave. Like the idea that they designed something that only existed from this point onwards.
Yeah, totally.
And it wasn't just done. It wasn't just like it's written, someone drew it, they went good, that's over with.
Yeah, it was like they did like concept art and like full design process. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like I guess I'll just bring it up now because this is very legal focused. Just that set of panels. Like the color
screen for video viewers, audio viewers.
Page 12.
Issue 1.
Just the layout and color. The amount of text and stuff, as I said before, just sort of...
I love the long hallway that kind of looks like an airplane. It's very...
It's like... it's sort of... It does it at such cool angles. Like, it's just very, like, sharp in parts. And then it's sort of like you can see her determination in the sharpness. And then it almost like levels out as she gets to him, and he's just very boring and plain and straightforward. Like you can take a lot out of this one page.
Yeah, I also love just how like not only is like a blank expression, but his like face is just like stark white. Like he's almost he's stuck in this deep dark place.
He's a corpse. He looks like a corpse.
Looks like a corpse.
And he does not change. Every single shot of his face is straight on, like just direct on. And
I mean, most faces are straight on in this comic run.
Yeah,
it's true. That is true.
Don't see the eyes of him.
You don't. Yeah. Always wearing those sunnies, and you can see the lights from the previous thing. In his glasses. Through there in the reflection. Like, it's so fun.
Talk about how like a lot of the characters pulled into this like Marvel characters that exist. I like that they were able to bring in their own original creation that feels so fleshed out and feels like this could exist within a larger continuity. Same with the Hollow Twins, which Charles Soule was his favorite panel of the two little receptionists. Which I did like. They kind of like glitched out when they realized that it was Jen Walters.
That's fun.
And when I like also how they change when it becomes like they realize, oh, she's not here for Avengers, she's here for lore, and they're like,
But
I like actually how they handled the Stark thing in this overall. You guys know how I feel about Tony Stark if you've followed other comic casts. But I overall liked the story in here, I think, because it's dealing with a bit more of the grey morality that Tony Stark has. And like, obviously when Jen goes to him and they have a conversation and Jen is like, I know that this is like actually something that we should sort out and it's important that you sort out. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. But the fact that he's got all these systems in place in his life that are automated to deal with this stuff means he's like, it's kind of highlighting the shitty parts of his personality as well as showing that like he's a superhero.
Yeah, he doesn't have time for this shit.
But you kind of think about like, I know it's like this is all automated and robots and stuff, but at the same time, that's probably how people running huge companies are. Like they would just have lawyers that deal with it and nothing gets to the person at the top.
Yeah, I love when they're actually in the courtroom itself and there's just the piles of books that they give them. And they're like, we want to change a venue. We want all this stuff. And it's like, listed on the blue document, the blue file, Druid, the most boring Avenger ever. Apparently.
I looked up his name. It was ridiculous. I can't remember what it was, but it was very silly.
She says, think of dull, balding Doctor Strange with a track record of being possessed.
Great.
Greer Grant Nelson, who is Tigra, a West Coast Avenger most of the time. Monica Rambeau. Herman Schultz, who is the Shocker. And Elton Vibro, a.k.a. Vibro, spelled differently. An old villain who popped up in Iron Man. Wyatt Wingfoot, friend of the Fantastic Four, and has a sporadic romantic relationship with She-Hulk. There you go. That's everyone on the blue file, as well as Jennifer Walters.
There you go. I just have one other thing. I've got a favorite panel from 1, 2, and 4. So I just wanted to jump in. There's not much that really happens in this issue.
No.
It's her just hiring and then she goes out for drinks. But there's one where the owner of the building comes around and is like, basically you find out that this building is just for like supers or scientists who like inventors who are probably making stuff for supers for superheroes. And there's a cool little discussion about why she's doing that as they're walking through the building. And it's just such a cool panel again, because it's like a double spread. And it's like kind of each part of the conversation is in a single shot. And you see them throughout, like going down a staircase, walking across a building. And because you follow the conversation and you follow where their silhouettes are or where they happen to be at each part of this single shot, you get to see like so much of the little Easter eggs and the little things that they've added into this shot. Whereas sometimes for a giant shot, if they're just in one place and there's dialogue all over it, you just focus on the dialogue, you look at them, and then you move on.
Am I right to think that that's Wally from Where's Wally?
It looks like Wally, right?
Where's Wally
when he walks through the thing,
okay.
Totally, It's very fun. But there's like, there's a girl with an umbrella just sort of randomly.
Mary Poppins.
Like a Mary Poppins sort of thing. There's a dude, I don't know, just a little cube man, very stocky man just going through it.
Reminds me of like
at one point.
The Hawkeye.
It's a very cool little shot.
the Hawkeye run, the Fraction run, which is interesting because clearly he was an artist on a couple of bits of that as well. And also the Nightwing issue where they did the full issue flowing through everything. It looks a lot like that. So,
totally.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
So I like that. It's good.
Jeremy Soule. I need to stop saying Jeremy Soule because that's the bad one. Charles Soule. His favorite panel in this was when Patsy and Shulky go to the AIM place and kind of beat stuff up, and then Shulky at the end asks Patsy, "Do you want to work with me?" And she just looking up at her. That's the one point where the eyes like work.
Gleeful eyes for sure. Yeah, drunk gleeful eyes. It's also very funny reading She-Hulk comics because it's like the Netflix shows when they came out, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones stuff. People didn't attack those shows in the same way people attacked Arrow and stuff, where Arrow took so much of Batman's lore and characters and gave them to Oliver Queen. The Jessica Jones show basically took She-Hulk's lore and gave it to Jessica Jones in that she's friends with Patsy Walker and she's kind of mixed between lawyer and investigator. Like, it's really interesting reading the She-Hulk comics and being like, oh, okay. Like, so much of this I've seen, but it was Jessica Jones's friend.
That's true. I hadn't even thought about that.
But no one cared. No one got pissed off that we were stealing another character.
Yeah. Issue 3. Christoph has a long comic history, basically.
Okay.
He's worked with the Fantastic Four. He's been he was taken in by them at a time early on. Then he's fought against them. And apparently the House of M version of him, when there's a Fantastic Four tie-in to the House of M, but it's like a Doctor Doom version of it, where it's like the evil Doctor Doom family. Fanatic Four. There we go. Joshie's included here. Yeah, Christoph is the Inhuman Torch in that.
Good.
Which is very cool.
That's cool. Yeah, it does.
Charles Soule had few favorite panels in that issue. He had the one where Hey's monkey. Hey the monkey, sorry. Angie's monkey, Hey.
Hey, it's the monkeys.
Has the notes. Was that what you were talking about when you were like, it's very confusing?
Not that one. Not that one. But yeah, that is a weird thing.
Full on hands are like a notepad of notes to Angie.
Taking notes when during the interview with Christoph.
Yeah. And Charles Soule was like, it was related to the idea that he's not supposed to be your average monkey, and we're trying to lean into that. So it's very cool.
Yeah.
And then everyone in their phones in the coffee shop, he was like, it was a cool panel that they did. And then also the Fantastic car.
That was fun.
Which was the penis car.
Yes.
Bring it back. It looks so like a penis.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But it was cool that we got a Fantastic car in this. There's a lot of different versions of that in the comics.
It also feels like the kind of thing, not this show obviously, but it could, if the Fantastic Four had existed, this show would just be like, I'm here, there's a car. It'd just be a nice fun reference.
Totally. And his favorite character in number 3, Ernst the Doombot, the driver of the
nice
Christoph chauffeur car, who turns out to be a Doombot, is very
Alfred.
It's fun. Very good. I love the Doombots just showing up in all these different forms. I like kind of like how stupid they are in this. That's also just the giant Doombot.
The last one, she's like, I could have bashed the Doombot, and he's like, don't bash the Doombot. He's like, don't bash the Doombot.
Totally. It's such a great little. I will just quickly say we're good, great. The moment
pretty
that,
good.
The moment that I was referring to with Hey the monkey was in the courtroom. When it's just like, it's almost this off to the side little conversation that happens where what's her name? Angela? No,
Angie.
A
lot of names to remember. I don't blame you.
is talking to like one of the security people in the courthouse. She was like, is that an animal in the courthouse? You can't really do that. And she's like, yeah, you usually can't, but you can this time, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And it's like, what just happened?
Why?
So that was like my tip off, was like,
there's something up here.
There's something up with her. There's from the start, this lady that she hires, it's like, there's something off about you.
Because it's constantly like, this is a weird thing. And then she'll go, and it's like, okay, cool.
Like you know something, or you have something up. Because there's also a bit when when Jen first interviews her, she's like, oh, there's a bit of a break here. And she's like, I took some time off. It's like, why?
I like that
you haven't said why.
I like that it feels fun though. It doesn't feel like it's going to be like some mysterious villain turn. It actually just feels like kind of just this like,
Because it's the thing as well in that bit where she's like, you could have gone anywhere, and she's like, yeah, but I want to go here.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that about?
Yeah. There's something up with
There's gotta be
Angie,
something
man.
to it.
cool little underarching story, and I like the monkey.
Yeah, it might be a
companion
wholesome
stuff.
reveal of like,
Yeah.
I needed to be here to help you.
Yeah, totally.
Less so a villains, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Probably a Doombot
Yeah, probably just a Doom bot.
in the end.
No one Doom.
There's a good chance.
A Doom monkey.
Issue 4, she goes and visits Daredevil in San Francisco, which was very cool. I liked overall that kind of vibe, their conversation, them hanging out, and they're like, let's go out. And it's actually just them beating up people. Because earlier on, you have it going out with Patsy, and initially it's them
Going drinking.
drinking. Whereas with Daredevil, it's just like going out is just going up and beating on fools.
So
It's
cool.
also that thing that we always talk about with these comics where it's interesting to see where the Marvel Universe is at that time and that he was barred from being in New York and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's cool to have those points of knowing when a comic has been set or when it's been released.
Totally. Yeah. Jshie says here, why is Matt Murdock in San Francisco? Daredevil Volume 3, which ended in 2014 when this comic came out.
Of course.
Matt is forced to publicly reveal his Daredevil identity, which is why he gets disbarred and heads to San Francisco. Apparently, he'd previously lived there in 1972 when it had become Daredevil had become a joint book with Black Widow, which I did not know happened.
What?
Cool.
Interesting crossover choice.
I really like how they tied him into this issue overall.
It's good fun.
Yeah. It's the kind of interaction I hope we really get between them in the TV show. I'm not sure we're going to get, but I want this slightly more fun version of Charlie Cox's Daredevil because we've seen the dark and gritty version.
Yeah. I think it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I also think he'll bang.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a bang.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it'll be... Because the one thing he did in his show is bang.
That's true.
He did all the banging. So
Yeah.
it's like these two characters, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Cole and She-Hulk, Daredevil bang.
I was...
And we have already seen a pretty fun Matt Murdock in this, like just the one little scene of him with Spider-Man in No Way Home. It's like
It's the lighter part of his character.
Yeah, he's loving it. He's loving being in this.
Yeah.
I replied to your tweet the other day about Daredevil or something. It keeps popping up in all these things.
Yeah.
It is wild how he's gone from literally a Netflix reject to like
The front runner of the MCU,
He's
basically.
I can see him being like the Iron Man or Cap very soon in the MCU. He's in She-Hulk. He's going to be in Echo. He's going to be in his own series, and then he's going to be in freshman year as well.
Yeah. It feels like, because I think Will and I were talking about how like so many of the movies and stuff in this series so far seem quite like down to the ground and in New York and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, if like, you know, you've got heroes out in space and people that can travel dimensions and stuff.
Yeah.
But he could totally just be the head of everyone just down on the ground in New York.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
everyone just goes to him.
Yeah,
Because
Kamala and Miss Marvel Series 2.
Yeah.
Need help.
He's just always around. He's always like, he
Yeah.
doesn't have a way to get into space
Yeah.
and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He's just, he's
Yeah.
just around. And because he is who he is, he just knows everything about everything in New York and Hell's Kitchen and stuff. So
More Daredevil.
hell yeah.
More Daredevil. I'm happy. I'm happy he's like come back into it. It was
Totally.
a point at which we were never sure it would happen, and now he has an 18 episode series of his own.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well, I've read a while ago as well that like Charlie Cox specifically has gotten awards from like the like blind foundations and stuff about his portrayal of a blind man and stuff like that, because he literally also had vision impairing contacts that he would put in whilst acting to make it harder for him and stuff like that. So he sort of went above and beyond to portray this in such a good way, and
It's cool, dude.
their society is acknowledging that.
Very excited to see
which is very cool.
in
So-
freshman year when he pops up.
Yeah.
And he's got, because it's an animated show, you'll get to see like what is it? He's like Echo.
He's Echo Vision.
Echo Vision or whatever. You should be
Yeah.
able to see like the circles and stuff of that. I
Yeah.
think that'll be very cool when that happens. But enough Daredevil for now. We'll have plenty of time to talk about Daredevil on Comic Cast, I'm sure.
Very soon.
It's coming.
I think it'll be just the last thing of that. It'll be cool because he's obviously showing up in She-Hulk now, and I imagine she'll start showing up in his show and stuff as well. So we'll get that level of crossover. That'll be very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to jump into the viewer comments because we actually have like I think 4 different people, but
Cool.
a new person and the return of Dion.
Yep.
Hey.
So we've had
Turn of Dion.
quite a few people write in this.
Looks
time.
like Dion wrote more than usual too.
Well,
It's
he
not
gave a one line, and then he also gave a slightly
okay.
longer thing.
Okay,
Well,
cool,
he goes,
cool.
you like your one line.
I love the one line.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Dion.
I'm going to run through Jshie's first. It's a long one as usual. Let's see how many tongue twisters are in this one.
Dude.
Soul's She-Hulk is tongue-in-cheek enough to be a spiritual successor to John Byrne's iconic, sensational She-Hulk issues, the original ones, even if Soul never similarly snaps through the fourth wall. In the complete collection trade, the previously ons from the single issue were excluded. That's a shame, because that's like one of the most fun bits.
Yeah.
Mirroring slots 2004 She-Hulk book a long time ago.
Tablets.
Soul severs previous continuity ties for non-superheroic elements of She-Hulk's life. Soul simplifies this separation. Oh, you fucked me here. Soul simplifies this separation, sparing a bare handful of pages to clean house before launching straight into the weekly case, while seeding the sumptuous serialized story arc. Serotonin secretly steadily into the... Fuck. I challenged him and he's done
fucked
it.
you up. I hope the rest of it is all letters. It's just S.
It's all letters.
Yeah.
I hope the rest of his words
Well,
are
he's
all
already fucked it.
letters.
There's numbers all through there.
Ah, what a
All
jerk.
right.
Failed.
Let's go. Serotonin secreted steadily into the sensory receptors of my brain, stimulated by the narrative flow, the sparkling dialogue that kept even boardrooms and courtrooms spectacularly exciting, and the colourful comfort of the warm, vibrant world. Overall, I adore the majority of the art style, appreciating panels flowing with a hummingbird energy, the one you showed earlier, the
Yes.
one going through the apartment
Yeah, it was
building.
good fun.
And then also during the tour of Hive, when Patsy and her go and attack there, there's a nice little jump up on the outside of Patsy. Byrne's 80s comic run, dual writing and penciling Jen's Tales and the Fantastic Four and Sensational She-Hulk books solidified Jennifer's iconic green aesthetic with the classic 80s big hair, generating the feeling in Polito's penciling that something visually is off-kilter with Jen's flat hairline. I don't think that's all that's off-kilter. The forehead length elongated and eye placement ill-proportioned. Original creations for this run and stalwart Marvel Comics veteran Patsy Walker feel best suited to Polito's art style. Yeah, totally. But the title character looks marionette-esque above the neck. That's a good way to describe it.
Yep.
Polito's face drawing technique barely wrinkles what otherwise are supremely solid visuals, vivaciously vibrant from Vicente's color choices. That's good.
Yes, he writes well.
He's very good.
It sucks.
It sucks for me because I've got to read it.
It's true.
The face art style is highly expressive in a way that complements this character-driven story style. Soul's lawyer day job lent a unique career-focused take on She-Hulk and his past. As a paralegal showcases Angie Huang with an importance few writers would bother with. That's true. Lending credence to editors assigning writers where applicable that experience characters' journeys provide narrative authenticity.
Yep.
I agree. I think it's cool. Obviously, like, it's important, especially with more diverse characters being brought in, that like stuff like Miss Marvel is written by like Muslim writers and stuff. But it kind of goes the same for this, where it's like, it's about a lawyer. Let's get a lawyer to write it. That's like, it will be the most authentic version of what that is.
Totally.
And he's done it in such an approachable way too. Like, there's so much legal jargon, but you get it. Like, you can read it and somewhat understand.
I think it's also the fact that
like,
when
it does it so well.
the heavy legal jargon and legalese comes in, it's like actively like taking the piss out of it. Like, we know this is stupid. Like you mentioned, when they go to
the
legal,
wall of text of
it's just the wall of text, and you're not really supposed to read them.
And the text gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
It's just because we read it on Marvel Unlimited that you can zoom in and actually read it.
Totally. The Von Doom case in number 3 and 4 was chosen because Soul's work in immigration law gave him confidence telling stories in that legal area, and he consulted a legal litigator at least once in this run when the law strayed outside his specialty areas. Wow. There you go.
So good.
Soul has done his work. He's done as much research writing this run as Jshie's done for this.
Yeah, it's true.
Soul not only makes sure the legal content is universally accessible, but uses it as narrative lattice work, allowing the emotional thought lines of characters' dynamics to be the central core focuses. Issues 3 and 4 boil down to a story of a parent and a child in conflict over toxic parental expectations and the need to establish independence from a controlling environment. Number 2 is about exploring the layered friendship dynamic between Hellcat and Jen and the Harrows case in number 1. boils down to an exploration of how cold the practicalities of loss are, whether a person, profession, or property, and their heated emotional impacts. Indeed. Cameos ranging from the super obvious to super obscure were appreciably abundant. The realistic depiction of attempted interactions with CEO Tony Stark, requiring bypassing the parsimonious legal and corporate rigmarole is fascinating. I've never seen that word before.
No.
That's rare. I've seen a lot of words.
How many?
Yeah, go on.
Approximately 2 billion.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a few words.
That's prox.
Yeah. Contrasting.
That's prox.
Contrasting with the more favorable depiction of Tony offering a young protege advice in Magnificent Miss Marvel #6, the comic we did in June of this year, provides an interesting insight into the complexity that viewing Tony through different writers' lenses can create. Totally. I really like Charles Soule's version of Tony because, for obvious reasons.
Because he's only in 6 panels.
And he sucks a bit. So characteristic, a people person like Tony can be rendered so impersonal and isolated by the big business world, felt cynical but accurate. Damn right it did. Also exceptional was a deep dive into comic continuity to repurpose Miss Harrow's deceased husband, Dr. Harrow, a third-rate villain in a handful of 20th century comics, as we mentioned earlier. Growing up with a small stack of Fantastic Four comics across their first 420 issues. So Jshie, I want you to tell me, do you have a small stack, like, with some of the issues from that run, or do you have you're saying small stack because it's all 420?
Yeah.
Because I've seen his room.
Yeah, comparatively to other stacks he may have.
I've seen his room and he could have all 420.
Yeah.
Also a good number.
Interesting.
But anyway, some of the most memorable were ones deviating from the traditional team lineup, including a couple issues with Christoph as a pivotal member. His reappearance was a pleasant blast from the past, still very headstrong but tweaked for this century. Yeah, he's a good character in this comic. That's something we didn't talk about as much. But there's a good, he's an asshole, but there's a good level of ambiguity to his character.
Yeah, totally.
That we don't even get with Victor Von Doom.
No.
But we still do kind of get it in this comic. As you mentioned, it's a bit, sad. He's like, oh yeah, well, I have messed up. I'm a terrible, super villain, but I have messed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he turns to Christoph. He's like, "Is this true?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his son's like, "Yeah, it is." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Let's take her back to America and we'll discuss it when you get back." It's like, wait, what? That was Dr. Doom. It's so interesting.
Love the visual comedy of it all. We actually didn't mention the flying Vespa that Christoph is on in this moment.
Oh yes.
But the visual comedy of him on that, She-Hulk in the hand of this giant Doombot, which is like Dr. Doom is talking through. It's just like they're having this really important, real
Emotional
conversation.
moment.
And there's just all that going on.
So
it's
great.
Yeah. Even the fucking Doombot looks terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what Dr. Doom looks like. That's not his face.
No.
What have you done?
Yeah. Christoph's situation, still so helpless by the end, was disheartening, forced to stay with a parent who previously overwrote Christoph's brainwaves with Dr. Doom's own experiences and memories, among other atrocities, an allegory for generational trauma. I guess it's an allegory. It's just flat out.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is that.
That is it.
The silver lining is this victim never appears weak in choices made to improve their life quality, but calculated, considered, and certain, imbuing the character with inner strength. This victim in a dysfunctional family dynamic is not shamed in the reader's eyes, something other stories, regardless of medium or critical acclaim, could learn from. Ultimately, Soule's run ties with Rainbow Rowell's 2022 run as my second favorite solo She-Hulk book. The 1989 sensational She-Hulk series still holds first place. For those looking to finish the series, rest assured the blue file is closed out in the final issue of this run.
Nice.
Though the journey is more scintillating than the solution.
Cool.
Angie retains most of her enigmatic mystique, waiting to be explored by Soule or perhaps another writer in the future. Interesting. So they never really resolved the Angie question. If likely to only sample a couple more issues, I recommend either #7, where the protagonists tackle big problems in a small yard with Ant-Man. Ooh, that does sound good.
Yeah.
Or 8-10, where Murdoch's foreshadowing in #4 about never having gone against Jennifer Walters in court is paid off with the legacy of Captain America hanging in the balance.
Ooh.
I think those were the ones that Jshie originally recommended we do for this.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's start at the start so we get a good jumping off point for this comic cast.
Go.
And he's got a final rating, Soul She-Hulk 2014, number 1 to 4. I rate 1 Converse-wearing lawyer and 1 gigantic doom-smashing lawyer out of 2 lawyers.
Good.
So 2 out of 2.
Nice.
Good.
New writer, long-time viewer from what
Yes.
I've heard. Dump Days.
Okay.
Dump Days apparently just joined the Patreon and joined the Discord, but has been following the Comic Cast for a while now.
Yep.
Dump Days, a comic creator of their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes fantastic little comics.
You like bin chickens?
Yeah, if you like
right.
you like bin chickens or ibises, as they're sometimes known, but not often. You can head to Dump Days Comics, I think, across Twitter, Instagram, and all that stuff.
Days being DAZE.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Dump being DUMP.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's written in about these comics, which is lovely. He says, as someone whose soul, in inverted commas, experience with reading She-Hulk is the Dan Slott Civil War era series, I didn't know what to expect. So the same as you.
Yeah, cool.
Soul's writing is more grounded than the Slott run. Gone is the zany superhero law firm, replaced with Jen's new legal startup, albeit one set in an eccentric apartment building for superhumans. These first 4 issues set up the groundwork for future issues without doing anything groundbreaking. Where it shines is in the relationship Jen has with others and in highlighting the bureaucracy of corporate law in issue 1, and how big corporations can bog the little guys in red tape. Polito's art is colorful and dynamic in all the right ways, with one exception. His weird Gumby faces with their dead puggle, their dead puggle eyes.
Yeah.
Now, there's a little dead puggle. They had Jshie and Dump Days had a little conversation after this, because originally Dump Days meant to write pug there because it was like looks a bit like a pug.
Yeah.
Yep.
Particularly the pug from Spelunky 2.
Fair. Yeah.
But then Jshie was like, well, a puggle is a baby echidna or a platypus, because Jshie knows everything. And he said, I totally didn't have to look that one up.
Yeah.
But then Dumb Days went back and was like, actually, I looked up a puggle and that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, okay, good.
And we got a picture of Perry the platypus here, which does look quite like, is it Perry the platypus like? But if you look up a picture of a puggle, a baby echidna,
Something like that.
Looks like Jen Hulk. Jen Hulk in this.
Jen Hulk.
Just, I believe they call that cockeyed. Which I think because there's cross-eyed and then there's cockeyed, which is where they face
so
outer instead of inner.
Totally.
I think I only know that because you could create cockeyed skaters in Tony Hawk Underground, I believe, when you could customize your skater. It was the first time I saw it ever come up.
Wild.
That's the strangest form of inclusivity.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
You could do like, standard eye and then cross-eyed and cockeyed.
How wild.
Bizarre.
Yeah. Cool.
To wrap up Dump Days' comments, he says, nothing breaks the moment more than seeing She-Hulk's eyes looking in different directions. But if you persevere through...
Yep.
If you persevere through the lazy eyes and Joker grins, you'll find a well-written story setting the seeds for the future. I give this 2 puggle eyes out of 1 weird Play-Doh face. And we have a lovely picture here, which is just saying yup.
Excellent.
And then we also got a little picture of Dump Days reading the comic with his little cat, Alfie.
Cute.
It's very cute. So if you want to see that, you can go to the video version of this podcast or the Discord, which you can join by going to patreon.com.
You know what.
Dolphin Pants.
Dolphin Pants.
Yeah.
Got the pants and he's a dolphin. She-Hulk is a character that I was introduced to during my first Marvel love, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, 2011.
Hey.
Like most, I knew the mainstays from the films, cartoons, and the infant that was the MCU. But Marvel vs. Capcom 3 introduced me to many characters I love today. Doctor Strange, Hawkeye, Rocket Raccoon, Deadpool, X-23, MODOK, Super Skrull, Taskmaster, and of course She-Hulk. Man, that game was stacked.
Weird selections too.
Yeah.
All these characters have the largest part in my heart. Saying this, I have never read a She-Hulk comic. I have only ever read her in other series. This is very exciting for me.
Same as us. Yeah.
I couldn't secure a physical copy this month, so I'm back to the old faithful of Marvel Unlimited. The sucker for lawyer comedy, the Phoenix Wright games are a core memory when growing up, and Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, was one of my many animated obsessions. I also recently started Better Call Saul, which is a masterpiece.
Cool.
Heard very good things about that, but I feel like it's a daunting thing to get into.
Yeah. Because you would have to probably watch Breaking Bad first.
Which I also haven't done.
Which I think is also probably the most accessible out of all of those big ones because it's the shortest out of like your Walking Deads and your Game of Throneses and stuff. Yeah.
I've watched Game of Thrones through like 4 times, but I've never watched Breaking Bad. So there you go.
Good.
Anyway, Dolphin Pants continues. So this and the upcoming show have big shoes to fill. Some may say Hulk-sized shoes.
Yes.
But not quite Hulk-sized shoes.
Yeah. Middle-sized Hulk.
Yeah. I didn't know about the art style at first, but it really grew on me. I love how the series just exists in the Marvel universe. Like other comics have a cameo here and there to remind you that, hey, we're all connected. But this series, it doesn't need to remind you. It's just Iron Man, Hellcat, Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four, Daredevil.
Yeah.
He was expecting at least one real fourth wall break. But this is fine. I read a fair bit of Deadpool as a teen because lol, random chimichanga. So it's nice for it to be subtle and left to the intro. Yeah. It's nice for a bit of variation every now and then within a character. I enjoyed the story and we'll be reading on to find out more about the Blue Case. I would be interested to read more of her outside of this run also. That's exciting. Look, I have gained a reputation for being a bit, as the kids say, down bad for strong female characters.
It's fair, buddy.
But I respect this Jennifer Walters too much to really make any. But for the sake of the continuity, big green mummy.
Excellent. Thank you, Dolphin.
I give She-Hulk 2014 issues 1-4, 3 Latvian francs, and erect gigantic doom out of 5.
Nice.
Erect, by the way.
Erect.
Not erect.
Erect.
Giant doom.
Erect.
Erect. A broken giant doom.
Maybe
Not a hard doom for big green mummies.
Although maybe Dolphin is.
There's art of there somewhere. Anyway, Dion.
Good.
Do you want me to just read? Dion's given us a little bit extra, but he's also got a one-line review.
Maybe kick the one line first.
Single line up.
Yeah.
Dion, my one-line review of She-Hulk is that it is a light read full of cliches and questionable bug-eyed artwork.
Fair.
Yep.
Fair.
There you go. If you didn't listen to the past hour that's what you need to know.
Every time, Dion just
nails it. But he goes a bit more into it. He says, it was fun to see the legal side of superheroing without getting bogged down with the Accords. I agree. I can only assume that later on we will get more of the mysterious paralegal and the monkey from Friends. See, I wasn't the only one that was from Friends. The artwork really bothers me, especially anytime She-Hulk, I forgot her name, is facing straight on. It really seemed like the budget for this one was whatever they could find in cup holder with an overnight turnaround. There are some really good panel layouts, but then the next page you get hit with Squid Girl. I really love the covers. And then finally, Dion says, comics are wild with a picture of the penis. Penis Fantastica.
Good.
So, it's so peanut. Like that's
just a peen.
It is.
Someone designed that and was like, "It's a penis."
I drew a dick.
Yeah. All right. That's She-Hulk.
That's great.
That was a good comic. I enjoyed it a lot. Should we do a quick little rating?
Yeah, we should.
To wrap out the comic cast. Ow.
Yeah, I softly hit my head on the microphone.
Nice.
All right. Well, kick us off.
Mine is 3 identical clones of the actress that plays She-Hulk out of 5.
Good.
Got a name.
Tatiana
Maslany.
Yeah, there you go.
3 clones of her.
Yeah, because Orphan Black.
Yeah,
got there eventually. Yeah, all right.
Well, my original one was 2.5 seasons of The Good Place out of 5. But I was like, that's even
deeper of a cut.
Yeah.
That can be for the She-Hulk
show
podcast.
Yeah. I'll hold that on. 2.5. I've already made my decision.
There you go. Mine would be one mysterious monkey out of Angie.
Nice. Out of Angie.
Oh no! Well, that explains everything.
There you go.
It's just a human.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Mine is one penis plane out of a puggle.
Go. Nice.
I don't want to see that. I was really hoping you would just say one penis plane and move on.
At least the phrase isn't in a.
Yeah,
it's coming out.
Like
it's coming out.
3 in a 5-star or something. Yeah.
You
Otherwise,
want
our in a.
Yeah. You don't want a monkey and a woman.
No. Not often.
Not often.
What are we doing next, Ben?
Before you're cancelled off the internet, we're going to talk about next month's comic.
Yeah, we are.
It is the month of September next month.
Yes.
It's a bit of a dry end of the year, so we've got to work on what I'm going to do for the other few months. But for September, because ongoing as of
last Friday,
like 2 days ago, is the Harley Quinn animated series making its triumphant return.
It's a great start too.
Yeah,
we are going to do the Harley Quinn animated series comic. Its full name is Harley Quinn the animated series. Sorry, Harley Quinn : the animated series - the Eat Bang Kill Tour.
It's all caps. All caps.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. All caps bang.
So there are 6 issues of that. We're just going to do the whole thing because
Yeah.
it's a short
Might as
little
well.
comic run. It's nice and fun. I've read a few of it.
It forces everyone. I've already read it, but it forces everyone who's bought the comics
We've all-
to read
yeah.
them.
Yes, everyone in this room has.
All of
Yeah.
us have bought the comics. I think Dolphin Pants has as well.
Yeah.
So we've finally read through all of them.
Yeah.
And for context, it is the prequel to season 3.
So it's
So it's the in-between part.
story between
Yeah.
season 2 and season 3.
It fits inside the beginning of episode 1, basically.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Basically, they couldn't make it show of all the stuff, so they were just going to make a comic, and they also had to wait like 2 years for the
Yes.
show to get made
Yeah.
because
It's COVID.
COVID.
Yeah.
Speaking of COVID, I'm not, but that's the end of the podcast.
Glad you're not.
For August of 2022.
Yes.
We did it.
Will there be an August of 2023, or will the world have burned crashing down?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out in
That
a
was
year.
that was a really interesting segue because you didn't actually have a segue, but by getting to COVID, you had a segue about August not existing again. It was like a reverse segue. You said a thing that you could have said first. You could have said, so that's the comic cast for August 2022. I don't have COVID. Will there be August? But you said it the other way, which was really interesting. It was like you got to a reason to talk about COVID.
Thank
In
you.
the end of that. So I was really proud of that.
Thank
It
you.
was a really inverse segue.
We're proud of you, Ben.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Proud of you. I'm not going to tell you. He might be.
I've
COVID.
evolved over 20 of these comic casts.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. I've had COVID.
He's COVID.
No, I'm actually free at the moment. I'm like a week free of it.
Holy shit! Wow,
I'm free.
You're free.
You can buy me.
Nice.
check out Edo Store.
You specifically can't buy me because I'm free. Oh, we're going to go. That's Josh. That's Will.
No, very great.
I'm Sam. Goodbye.
Good. Bye.
Bye.